The airport buzzed with energy, a mix of excitement and urgency filling the air. Travelers rushed to their gates, dragging colorful suitcases behind them. The aroma of coffee drifted from nearby cafes, blending with the sounds of announcements echoing through the terminal. Pilots in crisp uniforms stationed themselves at various gates, preparing for the day's flights. Among them was Captain Jake, known for his confident demeanor and sharp focus. As he walked through the crowded terminal, Jake glanced at departure boards flashing flight numbers and destinations. Each announcement brought a wave of anticipation from passengers eager to start their journeys. Children giggled with joy as they spotted planes taxiing on the runway, while adults checked their watches, anxious not to miss their flights. The atmosphere crackled with excitement as families hugged goodbye and friends shared last-minute stories before boarding. Jake felt a surge of adrenaline. It was his favorite part of being a pilot, knowing he would soon be soaring high above the clouds, guiding travelers safely to their destinations. Just as he approached his gate, he spotted his co-pilot reviewing plans by the plane. The aircraft stood proudly, glimmering in the sunlight like a giant bird poised for flight. It was ready to take off, and Jake felt a sense of pride in his duty. As passengers began to board, Jake noticed a woman slip into line who looked different from the others. She was dressed casually, yet carried an air of confidence that set her apart. Little did he know that this encounter would lead to an unforgettable day, one that would change his perspective on leadership and respect forever. The excitement in the air seemed to foreshadow something unexpected, waiting just moments away. Captain Jake had spent years training to be a pilot, driven by a lifelong dream of soaring through the sky. Growing up in a small town, he often watched planes flying overhead, imagining himself at the controls. Now, with his crisp uniform and polished shoes, he looked every bit the confident leader he had become. Jake was not only skilled at flying, his calm demeanor under pressure made him well respected among his peers. Passengers appreciated his friendly smile during announcements, and crew members valued his ability to make quick decisions in challenging situations. He believed that being a pilot was more than just operating an aircraft. It was about ensuring safety and comfort for everyone on board. With each flight, Jake's excitement never waned. He thrived on the adrenaline of takeoffs and landings, eagerly anticipating the views from thousands of feet above the ground. He understood the importance of teamwork and always communicated openly with his co-pilot and cabin crew, fostering an environment where everyone felt valued and empowered. On this particular day, as he prepared for the flight ahead, Jake reflected on the responsibility that came with his role. He knew that every choice he made could affect the lives of others. With determination in his heart, he whispered a silent promise to himself to guide his passengers safely to their destination while making their journey enjoyable. Yet, beneath the surface of his confident exterior, Jake sometimes struggled with moments of self-doubt. He wanted to be a leader who inspired those around him, but he sometimes questioned if he lived up to that ideal. Little did he know that today would challenge his beliefs about leadership in ways he had never imagined. As he took one last glance at the growing line of passengers boarding his plane, he felt a strange mix of anticipation and curiosity about what lay ahead. As passengers continued to board the plane, Captain Jake's attention was drawn to the woman he had noticed earlier. Dressed in stylish yet comfortable clothing, her presence exuded an air of confidence that was hard to ignore. She wore a simple but elegant jacket over a fitted blouse, paired with sleek jeans that accentuated her strong posture. Her long hair cascaded elegantly around her shoulders, framing a face that radiated both warmth and determination. This was no ordinary traveler. She was Princess Amelia, known for her impactful leadership and commitment to her people. Though she carried the weight of royalty on her shoulders, Amelia had always preferred to connect with others in genuine ways. Rather than being surrounded by guards or dressed in extravagant gowns, she often opted for a down-to-earth appearance, believing it helped her relate better to those she served. As she walked through the terminal, many recognized her, but Amelia moved gracefully through the crowd, offering smiles and nods to those who called out her name. It was evident that she was beloved, not just for her royal status, but for her empathy and approachability. A natural leader, she could easily engage in discussions with anyone, from children to seasoned travelers. Today, Amelia was traveling for a special mission, hoping to meet with community leaders across the country. Her heart was set on listening and learning about their challenges firsthand, eager to bridge the gap between her position and the everyday lives of those she represented. Unbeknownst to Captain Jake, their paths would soon cross in a way that would challenge both his assumptions and understanding of leadership. As she approached the boarding area, Amelia scanned the passengers with a sense of purpose. Little did she know that today would hold unexpected twists that would not only define her journey, but also reshape the life of a certain pilot who thought he knew exactly who he was. As the last of the passengers filtered onto the plane, Captain Jake stood at the entrance, welcoming each individual with a polite smile. His mind was focused on his pre-flight checklist, ensuring that everything was ready for takeoff. He had seen countless faces pass through this door, but when Princess Amelia approached, he couldn't shake off a sense of familiarity, despite her casual appearance. "Excuse me, miss," Jake said, eyeing her with a mix of curiosity and authority. "This is not a place for loitering. I need you to step off the plane until we finish boarding." Amelia paused at his words, a hint of surprise flickering in her eyes. She regarded him without flinching, an amused smile playing on her lips. "I believe I'm right where I need to be," she replied confidently. "I'm a passenger on this flight." Jake frowned slightly and glanced at her outfit again. Her stylish jacket and fitted jeans made her appear just like any other traveler. He had been led to believe that today would be like any other day at work, routine and predictable. But now he was staring at someone who seemed completely at ease despite his commanding tone. "I'm sorry," he began, his voice firm yet perplexed. "You can't just walk around like that and expect—" "Expect what?" she interrupted with a teasing tone, stepping closer to him. "That people will treat me differently because of my title?" The fleeting moment suddenly felt crucial. Something in her gaze challenged him to reconsider. Just as Jake opened his mouth to respond, a crew member hastily joined them, whispering urgently about readying for departure. "See, we're running late," he mumbled reluctantly, realizing he had misjudged this woman standing before him. A simple passenger, or possibly something much more than that. Captain Jake felt a flicker of irritation as he watched Princess Amelia stand her ground, her playful confidence challenging his authority. He had always prided himself on maintaining control, especially during boarding, and this unexpected encounter was throwing him off balance. With a sigh that mixed frustration and amusement, he decided to lighten the mood with a joke. All right," he said, forcing a chuckle as he pointed towards the exit door. "If you're not going to stop loitering, I might have to ask you to leave my plane. We can't have any distractions before takeoff." Amelia raised an eyebrow, amusement growing in her expression. "Really? You think I'm just going to step off because you asked nicely?" Her tone was teasing, and she stepped closer again, not backing down. Jake chuckled again, but felt a twinge of uncertainty. "Well, I've had passengers removed for less," he replied playfully yet firmly, hoping to regain some semblance of authority. "This is a serious flight operation." Despite the light-hearted tone, there was tension in the air. Amelia's laughter did not waver as she took another step toward him. "Seriousness doesn't mean you can dismiss people based on their appearance," she challenged him lightly, but with an edge of seriousness. "You really ought to consider that." Just then, another crew member rushed past them and whispered a reminder about the impending departure time. It broke the momentary tension, but left Jake feeling unsettled. As he watched Amelia smile at him with an almost knowing glint in her eye, he couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just a simple misunderstanding. It was something deeper than that. He had intended to keep things light-hearted, but now wondered if there was more to this passenger than met the eye. Perhaps today would not be so ordinary after all. As the playful banter hung in the air, Princess Amelia took a step back, gathering her thoughts. Her calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the tension that had built up around them. She tilted her head slightly and looked directly into Captain Jake's eyes, her expression shifting from amusement to earnest resolve. "Captain, I appreciate your concern for the flight's operation," she began, her voice steady and clear. "But I need you to understand that I have a role that is as important as yours. I'm not just any passenger. I'm here to learn about the lives of my people and to share their stories. My presence means something." Jake was taken aback by her strong response. The way she spoke exuded both confidence and grace, and he felt his irritation wane as he listened. It was evident that she carried the weight of responsibility, even if she appeared casual in her attire. "I believe in connecting with those I serve," Amelia continued, her sincerity shining through. "I prefer to approach situations without the usual trappings of royalty. This is how I build trust, and it's how I lead. If that means boarding a plane like everyone else, then so be it." Her words hung in the air, making Jake reconsider his previous assumptions. Here stood a leader who chose to embrace humility and approachability, challenging his perception of nobility. He felt a wave of respect wash over him, realizing that her mission was rooted in genuine intentions. As he took a moment to absorb her explanation, Jake's perspective shifted. Perhaps today would offer him a valuable lesson in leadership as well. Amelia smiled gently, her poise unwavering. She had navigated through the test of adversity gracefully, embodying the very qualities he admired in leaders. The tension melted away as Jake acknowledged his misjudgment, and for the first time, there was a sense of understanding between them. As their conversation continued, Captain Jake felt a shift in the air. Suddenly, he noticed a subtle detail he previously missed: a royal insignia pinned to Amelia's jacket, partially hidden beneath the fabric. It was a small but distinctive emblem, symbolizing her status and authority. His heart raced as he connected the dots. This confident woman was not just any passenger. She was Princess Amelia, his superior officer. The realization hit him like a bolt of lightning. Everything about her demeanor suddenly made sense. The way she carried herself with such poise and grace, her calm confidence in the face of his challenges. He struggled to mask his surprise, feeling the weight of his earlier comments pressing down on him. How foolish he had been to dismiss her so casually. "Wait a minute," he stammered, his voice faltering slightly. You're the princess? I didn't realize." Amelia held up a hand gently, her expression one of understanding. "It's okay, Captain," she replied with a smile that radiated warmth. "I prefer to meet people as equals rather than being treated differently because of my title." I believe it's important for leaders to connect authentically with others. He felt a rush of embarrassment, but also a newfound respect for her approach. The way she navigated this moment with such dignity left him in awe. He had misjudged not only her role, but also what true leadership looked like. With each passing second, the tension shifted from discomfort to an unspoken bond of mutual understanding. Jake took a deep breath, realizing that this encounter had opened his eyes in ways he hadn't anticipated. It was clear now that Princess Amelia was not only a leader, but also someone who inspired those around her by embracing humility and connection. "Thank you for being patient with me," he said sincerely, his tone filled with newfound appreciation. "I'm honored to have you on board." As the weight of the moment settled around them, Captain Jake felt a mix of embarrassment and curiosity welling inside him. He had just confronted a princess, someone he had thought was an ordinary passenger, and now found himself grappling with questions he hadn't considered before. How did she end up on a commercial flight? What could possibly bring a royal figure to travel among everyday people? If you don't mind me asking," Jake said, trying to ease the tension in the air, "why would you choose to fly like this? Aren't there special arrangements for someone in your position?" His voice carried an edge of hesitation, as he genuinely sought to understand her choices. Amelia's eyes sparkled with amusement at his inquiry. "It's quite simple, really. I want to be closer to my people. They deserve to know their leader cares enough to see their lives firsthand, even if it means blending in." Her tone was calm but resolute, and Jake could sense the passion behind her words. Yet, his embarrassment lingered. Here he was, a pilot who had always prided himself on professionalism, yet he had underestimated her significance. The realization made him acutely aware of the stereotypes he held about royalty, shrouded in luxury, detached from reality. The princess before him was breaking all those molds. "So, you genuinely prefer flying like this?" he asked, intrigued. "No entourage? No private jet?" "Exactly," Amelia replied with a nod. "I want to experience traveling like anyone else. It helps me stay grounded." This openness sparked even more questions in Jake's mind and deepened the tension between them. He admired her bravery, but couldn't shake off a lingering concern. Was it safe for a princess to travel this way? Did she truly understand the risks? The air between them crackled with unspoken thoughts as they both realized the gravity of what this flight represented, a unique bond forming amid their vastly different worlds. Each question stirred in Jake's heart and mind, seemed to pave the way for new understanding, yet left him craving answers from the confident woman standing before him. As the initial tension between them began to melt away, Captain Jake couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of the situation. "Well, I guess I owe you an apology for the way I treated you earlier," he said, a playful smirk creeping onto his face. "I mean, how many times can a pilot tell a princess to get off his plane? That's definitely a first for me." Amelia laughed, her eyes sparkling as she leaned against the cabin wall. "I have to say, it was quite amusing. Not every day do I get to be mistaken for an ordinary passenger. I should thank you. Now I have a great story to share with my friends back home." Jake raised an eyebrow in mock seriousness. "Oh no, please don't make me the butt of your jokes among royalty. I have enough trouble keeping my crew in line without them knowing I was scolded by a princess." His light-hearted tone broke any lingering awkwardness between them. "Don't worry," Amelia teased, placing a hand on her heart in exaggerated drama. "Your secret is safe with me, but I might mention your charming sense of authority next time I'm asked about flying commercial." She winked playfully, and Jake couldn't help but laugh. Feeling more at ease, Jake leaned in slightly. So, what's your take on flying with us common folk anyway? You might want to consider a more royal disguise next time. Maybe a tiara or something. Amelia responded with a grin. And risk losing that wonderful connection with people? Never. Plus, I think the tiara would clash with these jeans. She gestured to her outfit, and they both burst into laughter. Through their banter, Jake felt the last remnants of his embarrassment fade. Their conversation flowed easily now, bridging the gap between their worlds. Perhaps this unexpected encounter would lead to lasting friendship and understanding, not just for him, but for Amelia as well. It was a reminder that leaders could come in many forms and that kindness often transcends titles. As their laughter faded, Captain Jake leaned against the cockpit door, feeling a sense of ease wash over him. He was still processing the unexpected turn of events when he decided to delve deeper into Amelia's life and responsibilities. So, what is it really like to be a princess? He asked, curiosity piqued. Amelia smiled thoughtfully, her gaze drifting for a moment, as if recalling memories. It's a mix of privilege and responsibility, she began. Every day I have to balance my royal duties with the needs of my people. Spend a lot of time listening to their concerns, visiting communities, and finding ways to support them. Jake nodded, intrigued by her dedication. That sounds incredibly demanding. I can't imagine the pressure you must feel. It can be overwhelming at times, she admitted, her tone shifting to reflect the gravity of her role. But the rewards are worth it. When I see someone's life improve because of my efforts, it reminds me why I do this. Her passion was palpable, and Jake found himself admiring her commitment even more. He had always respected leaders in his profession, but Amelia's willingness to connect with everyday people set her apart in a way he hadn't anticipated. You don't just wear your title, you live it, he remarked, recognizing how much thought she put into her actions. You truly care about making a difference. Absolutely, Amelia replied earnestly. Leadership isn't about power. It's about service. In that moment, Jake realized how much he had grown from this encounter. His earlier assumptions about royalty were shattered, replaced by a genuine respect for the woman before him who embodied both strength and humility. This chance meeting had opened his eyes to the depth of true leadership and reminded him that they were both committed to serving others in their unique ways. As they continued talking, Jake felt a bond forming, a sense of mutual understanding, and he knew this encounter would stay with him long after the flight was over. As the cabin crew finalized their preparations for departure, Captain Jake and Princess Amelia shifted their focus to the tasks at hand. Recognizing that teamwork was essential to ensure a smooth flight, Jake turned to Amelia with a newfound sense of partnership. Want to help me do a quick safety check? He asked, motioning toward the emergency equipment stowed overhead. Absolutely, Amelia replied enthusiastically, her eyes lighting up with excitement. I may not be a pilot, but I can follow instructions. They moved efficiently down the aisle, checking emergency exits and ensuring that everyone was buckled in. Jake explained the importance of each procedure, and Amelia absorbed the information like a sponge. So, if there's an emergency, I need to guide everyone calmly to the exits? She asked, genuinely eager to contribute. Exactly, he confirmed, impressed by her willingness. You'd make a great co-pilot. As they continued their preparations, an air of camaraderie enveloped them. Their different backgrounds felt less significant, as they focused on the shared goal of getting everyone safely to their destination. Amelia even joked about how she had never imagined she'd be participating in a pre-flight checklist on a commercial flight. "I think my royal advisors would be shocked," she said with a laugh. Jake chuckled along, realizing how refreshing it was to work side by side with someone so grounded despite her significant status. They exchanged stories about their journeys, Amelia sharing insights about the communities she visited, and Jake relaying anecdotes from his flying career. By the time they finished their checks, both felt a genuine connection that transcended their roles. As they prepared for takeoff, Jake couldn't help but admire Amelia's ability to bring joy and purpose into this moment. It was clear that leaders could unite people in unexpected ways, and today, they were doing just that in their shared pursuit of ensuring a safe flight. As the flight took off smoothly, the atmosphere inside the cabin was filled with chatter and laughter. Captain Jake expertly guided the aircraft through the clouds, while Princess Amelia, seated in the main cabin, exchanged friendly smiles with fellow passengers. Her presence brought an unexpected warmth as she casually chatted with those around her, eager to hear their stories and share her own. The flight attendants noticed the positivity emanating from Amelia and began to incorporate her into their service. One attendant, Lisa, approached her during drink service. "Would you like something to drink, Your Highness?" she asked playfully, a twinkle in her eye. "Just Amelia, please," she replied with a giggle. "And I'll take a sparkling water if you have it." Passengers nearby chuckled at the easy banter, enjoying the lightheartedness that enveloped the cabin. As Amelia shared tales of her recent travels, her genuine interest in people sparked conversations among those who had initially been strangers. An elderly couple seated nearby shared their experiences traveling to different countries, and soon a small group gathered as laughter and shared stories flowed freely. In the cockpit, Jake took note of the camaraderie developing below him. He felt a sense of pride as he communicated with his crew through radio, encouraging them to engage with the passengers and keep spirits high. "Let's make this flight unforgettable for everyone," he said. Later, Jake peeked out of the cockpit to see Amelia helping a child with his seatbelt while playfully demonstrating how to fasten it properly. The child giggled as she pretended to struggle with it, and soon others joined in, mimicking her exaggerated motions. It was clear that Amelia's warmth and authenticity were creating an environment where everyone felt welcomed. As the flight continued, Captain Jake marveled at how one royal passenger could unite everyone on board, forging a bond of camaraderie that transcended titles and backgrounds. This shared journey wasn't just about reaching a destination, it was about making connections that would last well beyond their time in the air. The realization filled him with gratitude for this experience and for Princess Amelia's ability to inspire unity among them all. As the flight began its descent, Captain Jake felt a profound sense of gratitude wash over him. The day had unfolded in ways he had never imagined, starting with an unexpected encounter and blossoming into a lesson in leadership he would carry with him forever. He glanced out the cockpit window, taking in the landscape below, and reflected on how his assumptions about Princess Amelia had shifted throughout the day. Watching her interact with the passengers, bringing joy and comfort to everyone around her, he marveled at her ability to connect despite her royal status. It wasn't just about her title. It was about the genuine kindness and respect she showed to everyone, no matter who they were. Jake understood now that true leadership wasn't merely about authority or power. It was about service, humility, and fostering relationships. The light-hearted moments they shared came flooding back to him. The laughter, the playful teasing, and the camaraderie they built together within the cabin. He realized that these connections could transcend social barriers, enabling people from different walks of life to come together during a shared experience. Amelia's approach to leadership had opened his eyes to the importance of kindness in every interaction and demonstrated how empathy could bridge gaps where status too often separated people. As they prepared for landing, Jake made a silent promise to himself to incorporate these lessons into his own life. He would strive to be a pilot who not only ensures safety, but also fosters a welcoming environment for everyone on board. When they finally touched down, Jake turned to Amelia with a respectful nod. "Thank you for today," he said sincerely. "You've taught me more than I could have imagined about leadership." Amelia smiled warmly, responding, "And you've shown me how important it is to connect with those around us." As they exited the plane together, Jake felt inspired, ready to embrace the future, with a renewed sense of purpose and a deeper understanding of what it means to lead with kindness and respect. As the airplane rolled to a stop at the terminal, Captain Jake felt a surge of excitement mixed with emotional warmth. The flight had been more than just a journey from one place to another. It had been an enlightening experience that would shape the way he approached his role as a pilot. He turned to Princess Amelia, who had shared so much with him throughout the flight, and said, "I truly appreciate everything you brought to this journey today." Amelia smiled back, her eyes reflecting the joy of their shared adventure. "And I appreciate your willingness to connect, Jake. It's refreshing to meet someone who is open-minded and willing to learn." As they began to deboard, Jake suggested, "I'd love to continue our conversation sometime. Maybe we could explore more about each other's worlds?" "I would like that very much," Amelia replied warmly. "Collaboration is key in both of our roles. I think we can learn from one another." Passengers near them overheard and chimed in, expressing their enjoyment of the flight and what a delightful experience it had been. Jake felt a sense of pride as the atmosphere buzzed with lively conversation and laughter. This was what he aimed for in every flight. Walking down the terminal together, Jake couldn't help but feel inspired by the prospect of collaborating with Amelia in the future. He realized that their encounter had not only opened his eyes to the depth of true leadership, but also created a friendship built on mutual respect and understanding. As they reached the end of the terminal, he paused and looked at Amelia. "Thank you for showing me how important it is to lead with kindness and sincerity. Let's promise to champion those values together." Amelia nodded sincerely, grinning as she replied, "Absolutely. Let's inspire others to do the same." With that unspoken promise hanging in the air between them, both Jake and Amelia set forth into their respective journeys, knowing they would carry forward the lessons learned today and look forward to future collaborations filled with purpose and unity.